All right, welcome. This is the platform. A very good evening. My name is Elijah Kelvin Morongi, and thank you so much for keeping it live on Elke Media. So today is a Sunday, and yet we've come back with another conversation, and I want to thank you for always following us on our YouTube channel and also on our Facebook page. So we're going to be discussing yet another topic, and that is about the controversial coffee deal and what is the untold story. But before we proceed with today's conversation, with me in studios of Elke Media Services, we've hosted yet another pattern person here in at Elke Media, and he is called Mr. Fenhans Kiatasobora. But maybe let me give him an opportunity to be able to speak for himself. Yes, Mr. Fenhans, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Juan Elijah, for hosting me.
Yes.
Kiota Sowora Fenhans, an educationist, an economist, a politician, and a development worker,
All right.
and an elder in this region.
Okay, maybe let us start from the issue of a politician. Yeah, you see, we've wanted so much, more especially me, I've wanted so much to know about your political journey, how it comes, and the status quo currently.
For now, I have lots of interest in political happenings, but I don't hold any political office.
Okay.
In 2021, I contested the river after I have reached the river itself.
Okay, so in other words, right now you could take a decision not or to engage in the race, but maybe we can wait for the time when it comes.
Let us wait for the time when it comes. It is still too early, but I'm closely watching the happenings.
Okay, yeah. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Fenhans. Our viewers that are watching us live on Elke Media, we want to appreciate you so much for your subscriptions, for your likes, for your views, and all the comments that you keep on posting on our pages. So today, you can keep the conversation flowing on our hashtag. That is hash the platform. Yeah, hash the platform, or you can use hash Elkem Media Updates. So today we're going to be discussing the controversial coffee deal and what is the untold story. So we all know that on the 10th of February, the finance minister, that is Honorable Matia Kasaija, signed an agreement on behalf of Uganda, or on behalf of the government of Uganda, with Miss Erika Pinetti, who signed the agreement on behalf of Vinci Coffee, the Vinci company. Yes, the Vinci company, and the agreement was basically for them to give her a monopoly to be able to run the coffee sector of Uganda. So now this is something that has really raised a lot of conversations, a lot of discussions, a lot of arguments across and within Uganda about why did the government have to get into that kind of agreement with an international or with an external investor. So that is why we are here today, to discuss about the same, to also be able to join other Ugandans in the same discussion. Yes, we've had quite a number of conversations about the same, but today we are going to be able to digest it with Honorable Mr. Kiatasobora Fenhans. So later in the show, we shall be joined by other platformers. We hope to be joined by other platformers. But for now, let us keep the conversation going. So just remind you, this show is proudly sponsored by Beckham Enterprises Limited. So you can reach out to them for hardware or general hardware equipment, the likes of the iron sheets, the iron bars, the cement, the nails, and everything that you need for your construction. And it is also sponsored by Davenia Hotel. And right about now, we are live at Davenia Hotel. So let us pick the conversation from there, Mr. Fenhans. Let's talk about the coffee agreement. What are some of the key texts that you had from the agreement itself?
Thank you so much, Juan Elijah, and your crew.
Yes, please.
And all our listeners out there on the Facebook and YouTube. Uganda's coffee agreement with Uganda VC Coffee Company Limited. It is now in the ears of everybody, every Ugandan, and those people who think for Uganda, people who have feelings for Uganda.
Okay.
And before I talk about it, I want to say that that Uganda's coffee agreement with Uganda Vince Coffee Company Limited, which is managed or governed by that Italian lady investor.
Okay.
You called her who? What? Miss Enrica Pinite. Enrica Pinite. I want to say that it was it is a very bad agreement.
Okay.
That is my beginning point. Okay. It is a very bad agreement. However, I'm again proud that our government has suspended that agreement and has promised to commission investigations into that agreement to look at the interests of the people who were involved in that agreement.
All right, so maybe before we even leave that spot, Mr. Fenhans, what is wrong with the government of Uganda that it gets into agreements even before doing the investigations? Why do we have to be with the post-investigations other than the pre-investigations?
I will reach there. I was still giving a preamble.
Okay.
And I wanted in my preamble to note that it was a very bad agreement.
Okay.
And which I think was engineered by people with selfish interests, people without interest for the citizens of this country. And after stating that, I want to tell you that coffee is a precious product for this country, for Africa, and even the world over. It is second to oil. Yeah. Oil is the biggest precious product or commodity, and then followed by coffee.
Yeah.
And coffee in Uganda, coffee production in Uganda is such big, which cannot be overlooked. I think Uganda is the biggest coffee producer and exporter in Africa.
That is very true.
That one is very true. And between me and you, I want to tell you that it is this coffee that has been sustaining most of the Ugandan families since time immemorial. We have been having coffee. Our parents have been growing coffee, have been selling coffee to get money for our school fees, to get money to marry off their daughters, to get money to support their sons, to make families, to marry, to buy land, to do all sorts of things for making their livelihoods even better. And that is coffee. And since 1960s, coffee governance and management in Uganda has been in the hands of the farmer, your father, your mother, in the hands of the local leadership, in the hands of the government, our Ugandan government, and in the hands of the international community who had interest in coffee. And there were very clear structures, clearly streamlined, indicating how each party related with who and over what, including decision making and making decisions for what. Around that time, in 1960s, we had the International Coffee Agreement. Okay. That International Coffee Agreement could bring all coffee producing countries together, all coffee producing persons, associations together to discuss and agree on sensitive issues. Around 1980s, the International Coffee Agreement phased out or closed the shop. And there came the International Coffee Organization. This international coffee organization, Uganda has been a member to that Coffee International Organization. But around 1993, there was 1997, I think it was 1997, 1996, during the NRM government. we had what we called the review. I'm forgetting the term. The restructuring program, SAPS, structural adjustment programs. So that structural adjustment programs made various restructuring systems, and one of the systems that we are restructured is government enterprises, government businesses. This is where the government businesses were recommended for privatization. And for privatization, that's when some of the government businesses which were parastatals were privatized, and around that time we had a parastatal which was being managed by both farmers and government, which was established during the UPC government, and that was the cooperative movements, cooperative unions.
So that actually meant it was not necessarily for government, but for both the government and the people.
And the people.
Okay.
And this parastatal had some sections, but the supreme body in this parastatal for coffee and cooperative movements, and for coffee specifically, we had the Coffee Marketing Board. Now it was this Coffee Marketing Board that worked with the International Coffee Organization to negotiate on behalf of the farmers, to negotiate on behalf of the government, to negotiate with the international buyers. And in fact, it was a link between the farmer and the buyer, the consumer, the market. But when we came into privatization under the restructuring program, structural adjustment program, even cooperative movements were disbanded. The Coffee Marketing Board was disbanded, and even all its functions were disbanded. The biggest reason that the government of Uganda gave for disbanding the Coffee Marketing Board, which was owned by the farmers mostly, and then the government was supervising and giving technical and financial support somewhere, somehow. The reason that the government gave was it wanted to open the market for coffee under the liberal economy, such that every farmer, every dealer in coffee could have a right to have coffee, to sell to wherever they wanted to sell. They wanted to leave it to the demands of to the principle of demand and supply, and everybody got convinced. And this is what has been happening. Now, out of the blue, there comes a company.
Maybe before we get to that, so that was between which period and?
That was between 1985 and 1997.
Okay.
That's when that one happened. By 1997, cooperative movements they were there, but the Coffee Marketing Board, which were a product of the cooperative movements and the real coffee farmers, were totally disbanded, and the coffee was like in the open market. Now, what followed that, Bwana Elijah and the people who are listening to us, was Uganda to officially withdraw from the International Coffee Organization. And no clear reason was given. And people thought that maybe the government was thinking for us for good. And the government wanted to protect us from some restrictions which were being imposed to us by the international market.
Yeah.
But when you see the way things are unfolding, you come to realize, to think that there was a hidden agenda, and it was just being strategic. So the government could have just wanted to run away from those international restrictions which were protecting the coffee producers right from the grassroots up to the international market level. So they played that game to withdraw from the International Coffee Organization. Now, as we were there, some companies started growing the coffee, and the government created the Coffee Development Authority, UDA. It is an entire authority specifically for governing and managing coffee processes in Uganda, assuming that they would protect the farmer, they would protect a local trader, a local dealer in coffee, they would protect the Uganda government against the international coffee dealing abuses. But this Coffee Development Authority, I think it has done some good work, and it has registered some milestones, some success stories, like increasing the coffee productivity and production to a level of around 1.6 million bags of coffee, which translates into about 60,000 tons of coffee every year that we do export. And that one brings in a lot of money into this country. And when you look at that money can support us, if properly used, to establish full coffee processing plants at regional level every year. But now they are using that one to abuse everything. As that one went on, and the coffee production is increasing, the government is giving the coffee seedlings. Uganda Coffee Authority is educating farmers, mobilizing farmers, coordinating farmers, informing the policy processes about coffee. Now, in 2002, in January, something else came up. A coffee dealing company in the names of Vince Coffee Company Limited.
That is in 2022.
2022. January 2022. That's when it came up. Coffee Marketing Board. And the rumor started far back in 2001, around July. Only that the information was not all that clear. 2021.
Yes.
That's when it started, around July. And people were like, that one cannot happen. That one is like this. Like the way things of Uganda start nowadays.
Just like the
now 2021, issues of coffee became issues of coffee. Some individuals who are holding some powerful offices in the government, others are not holding any strong office in the government, but they matter a lot in the government. They influence the decisions of this government, and many people know them who don't hold any official position in this government, but they determine the direction of this government, and almost every decision in this government
comes from them.
Started getting involved in coffee, in national coffee decisions. Around January, Vince Coffee Company Limited became Vince Coffee Company Limited. Pinetti became Pinetti. And they were calling her different name because there is a deal she was pursuing around that time.
Yeah, that was the hospital.
Is it Lubowa?
Yeah, Lubowa.
International Specialized Hospital. She was pursuing that deal, which is not having any headway. Yeah,
in fact, she was actually paid for that very deal.
Exactly.
She did not accomplish the work.
Yeah, and the hospital is still on its foundation. So they were calling another name. I will recall it, I will get it, and I will tell you. But people the media started reporting about her as Pinetti, the very person, the very Italian investor, who is actually a pseudo-investor. She's a pseudo-investor. I would call upon the government to investigate. And I'm very sure she might not be an investor herself, but she must be a cover investor, a pseudo-investor, who is being frontlined to swindle the money from this country.
At that very point, Mr. Fenhans, we've seen, we looked at the agreement. If you see very well at the agreement where they are supposed to be signing, right? You see that Pinetti herself signed as
a witness.
A witness? Yes. What kind of, what does it echo in the ears of the Ugandans? Does that mean that it is not actually Pinetti herself that is taking on the deal, or it is... what do you make for that kind of
situation? In fact, I have very many questions, and that one is a very big question. Because on the 10th of February 2022, that's when that bad deal was endorsed, was signed. But you know, God is on the side of Ugandans. God is on the side of Ugandans. There is a way God does his things. So when you look at that agreement, one, it is an agro-based business, coffee. But the Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Honorable Franka Tumwebaze, says is not aware of that deal.
Yeah.
And you could have been part of it. Even his PS is not aware. And you wonder how they are entering into an agreement, a multi-billion agreement
in government
with that.
Matia Kasaija.
Then the Minister of Trade, Industry and Tourism also is not aware. Anyhow, is not aware. They are entering into a business where the Minister of Trade is not a party. Three, Uganda Coffee Development Authority. I told you we have an authority.
Okay.
That authority should have been a key player in this deal.
Yeah, so in other words, you're looking at the stakeholders.
Exactly.
Now, it goes back also to the farmers themselves.
They are just angers. Even the farmers are not anyhow represented. That's why I'm telling you that there is a way God does his things to expose the sinners. Now, when you come to the agreement itself, when it came to signing, Honorable Matia Kasaija rushed to sign on behalf of government. Then he called Ngobi, the PS, and the Secretary to the National Treasury. Is he Ngobi?
Yeah.
Ngobi signed as a witness because Matia signed in the presence of this on behalf of government. Who is the PS? We're supposed to provide technical guidance and making sure that all these gaps have been filled. But he signed as a witness and he did not advise. Now this lady, in fact, I feel bad when I call her lady when she's involved in a lady is supposed to be honest. And
in fact, that is why we make ladies treasurers, secretaries, and all that.
This one in particular, I don't think that she's all that honest. Who is the board chair of VC Coffee Company Limited, who was supposed to have signed on behalf of the company, signed as a witness. And to make matters worse for them to be exposed further, the space on that agreement, I'm sure you have a copy.
Yeah, I have a copy.
The space on that agreement is empty. It was not signed. Meaning that even though the government had not suspended it, like there are some members of parliament who wanted to go to court over this. This is a non-valid agreement because it is not duly signed. When you look at the Contracts and Agreements Act, it wasn't duly signed. So that's how God saved us.
Okay, now let me ask, this goes back to the very big question. You see, when you look at that agreement, you realize that there are the sections that show that the agreement could be reversible. That is in case that it was it about clause something 10 or something. Yeah, like they will try to show you that they left a gap that maybe they could rethink about that very same agreement. But also to proceed, does that mean that that they were trying to play on the Ugandans? Because if you do not sign, if you claim we are having an agreement with a particular company, and then in the end, no one is signing on behalf of that company, but we have a witness.
I'm telling you, God is very great. What did the witnesses witness? The government
the signing
signed
of what?
The government signed with an air company. The area of the company was not signed, so the other one couldn't witness. Why did the chairperson board just witness and leave the other place blank? Meaning that agreement is not outstanding, it is incomplete, it is not yet signed. That is one, like you said, some agreements that there is a provision around the clause 10 which provides some space for revisiting agreements. When you read the Contracts and Agreements Act, I think it is 2004, as amended, every agreement must have that provision. There must be some space for flexibility, adjustments, review, and what. But this one does not need to be reviewed. It is illegal. it is not genuine, it is incomplete.
All right.
The other person did not. And then too, the people who are supposed to have signed on this agreement did not sign. So there are certain
but
questions.
the Ugandans, for Uganda, actually fully signed. Matia Kasaija, Ngobi, and some other...
Matovu, Samubode. Yes, those ones, Matia Kasaija signed on behalf of government. The other ones witnessed the Kasaija's signing. And in fact, they witnessed the pseudo signing. And when Ugandans decide to go to court, these two others will act as witnesses to the people who go to court, because for them they witnessed the pseudo signing.
All right.
I think somebody...
Let us speak it from there, Mr. Fenhans. Our viewers that are watching us live on LK Media, this is the platform where expression is guaranteed, but also to read a few comments from the people that are watching us live. This is Twinomu Gavi, Twinomu Yambi Justus is saying, I'm watching live from Kampala. Thanks for the information about the coffee issue. And then we have someone else who is saying, thank you so much, LK Media, for always bringing such information to people to inform us, especially Bunyoro region. Yeah, bravo, LK Media. Thank you so much, the people that are watching us live on LK Media. You can keep the conversation flowing on our hashtag, that is #the platform. So just remind you, we are powered by Tusimbule Midwestern Uganda Festival Season 1 that is going to happen on the 6th of May, that is 2022 in Masindi Stadium. So, being nowhere else, we are going to be celebrating Midwestern Uganda content, the culture, our heritage, the artists, the musics, and the like. We shall have activities like circus, the bouncing castle for the kids, swimming pools for the kids, artists' performances from Midwestern Uganda and from around Uganda. So we're going to be opening the gates at exactly 8 a.m. That is in Masindi Stadium. So back to our conversation over here. So we've seen about the background of the coffee deal itself. So where does it put where does it put the country itself? Does it try to show us that the government actually does not have people that are able to invest in things like the coffee? Does it mean that we are on our knees for us to have investors from abroad? Couldn't we look around, or what does it put us?
Bwana Elijah and all those people listening to us, I want to be very honest. 1, to myself, 2, to the listeners, 3, to the Ugandans, all Ugandans, and then to government.
Okay.
I think this government has been duping its citizens on a number of issues.
Okay.
Which issues do concern the ordinary citizens, and they have always taken advantage of the unsuspecting citizens.
Okay.
This coffee deal has come to expose them. This is one of their thousands investments that Uganda has been, the people in government
have been engaging in, and stripping the citizens of this country of their, stealing their resources, stealing their money. Like when you look at this coffee deal, I wonder, the leaders in this country, under the leadership of His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Tibuhaburwa Museveni, have been ironical. You know, with irony, somebody says something, and he does that very something that is fighting against. The president himself has been talking about buying Uganda, building Uganda. Yeah.
He has been talking of giving money, encouraging local investors. He has been talking of inviting foreign investors to come. We have very many people. We have local companies who have been buying coffee, dealing in coffee businesses. The most active ones, we have the Bugishu Cooperative Union. Those ones have been very active in coffee, locally and internationally. We have another, I have been working in Kasese. There is also another union in Kasese which has been dealing in coffee. And for them, they have been dealing in organic coffee, producing this coffee, processing it, exporting it, getting licenses from government. We have very many other organizations and individuals dealing in this coffee. Now, instead of Uganda looking at the government looking at these people and supporting them such that they can strengthen, they can build further their businesses, now they levy a lot of tax against the local investors. Okay. Now they look for these pseudo investors. They give them tax holidays
of 10 years.
Like this woman has been given a tax holiday of 10 years. All taxes. You can imagine. And the money that she will be getting from this coffee, she's exporting it.
Let me pose a question, Mr. Fenhas.
Yes, please.
Does that mean that Uganda is trying to babysit the investor, or it means that they are trying to give her the space for her to be able to build Uganda? Because when you give a tax holiday of about 10 years and then also land...
Now, in the first one, you talk of them babysitting this investor, whom I'm calling pseudo. Kiwani. No, she's a Kiwani. She's not an investor. She's just a face of whatever. This business is for people in government, holding big positions, who want to use Ugandan money in the names of supporting the investors. They steal this money from Ugandans and they use it on their own. They are selfish. In fact, I'm fearing to use the word thieves, but they are thieves. These are thieves. And this lady, if you got him, put him down on floor, give him 2, 3, 4, 5 kiboko, serious ones, she will tell you the truth. That the company belongs to ABCD. And from I'm just being paraded as I'm just masquerading. But the strategy is just about stealing Ugandans' money. I'm just being used like ABCD and I'm being paid this amount. That's why I'm saying that this lady is not genuine. She's a pseudo and she knows it. And we must penalize her. You remember what she told the parliament? She, in the agreement, they are different things, but when she was before parliament, she stuck onto, she talked about different things, and she got stuck onto the law. I have not contravened any law in Uganda. But she couldn't specify the specific law that she was talking about. And that is being, and there are very many questions. I will call upon Ugandans to.
Let me switch a little bit to that very agreement. When you look at that agreement, as I said, it really gives the space to be able to revise. You have to revise it and put it straight. So do you think this investor is in a position to say that they are recalling the coffee deal? Because is already they already say that it's offering $80 million. Yeah, $80 million.
$80 million, which is around 362 billion.
Yes, which I'm even thinking it's already in the Uganda's economy. So do you think she's going to accept to go back with that deal? Because what happens is in such contracts or in such agreements, the thing is if the other party does not agree, then there is. Yeah, we cannot be able to reverse the deal. What if they do not agree?
Like I told you, Juan Elijah and listeners, that agreement is a Kichupuli agreement because it is not complete according to the Contracts and Agreements Act of Uganda.
But
it is incomplete. The
government will consider it complete, and that is why it is even being suspended for investigation.
It cannot consider it complete. It cannot consider it complete. Two, Matia Kasaija, Honorable, was not the sole, who shouldn't have been the sole signatory onto this agreement. Already other key stakeholders, Uganda Coffee Development Authority, Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Agriculture, they are all asking about this agreement, and they are asking Kasaija to explain. So you cannot call it a valid agreement. It could only be a valid agreement if the owner of the company had signed, but that space is blank, unless they sign it under the carpet. But what is on record, the other party did not sign. The agreement can only be complete if it is duly signed by two parties. But the other party, these others who acted as witnesses like Pinetti must have witnessed the pseudo signing. Because there are questions that Ugandans must keep asking. who is the owner of the company? Who is the if this lady at a time of signing said, I think I'm not the chairman board of this company, let me just witness. Then who is the owner of that company? Okay. That's the one we want to know. Then why should the government present Pinati as the investor when she knows that she's not the one?
Owner.
She's not the owner.
She's a witness.
She's a witness. She even said it, that the owner of the company is available, but not in this before this parliament. Even at parliament, she said the same. Why should the government, Matia Kasaija, present? Why should Matia Kasaija present Pineti as an investor when he
but also Matia Kasaija seems to be someone who doesn't want to disclose information. You've had
why was the space of the investor left blank? On page 14 of that agreement. It is on page 14 of that agreement. Why was it left blank? The agreement is always between two or more people. And all parties, between two or more parties,
it's supposed to sign
and all parties must sign the originals, and every party must walk away with his or her own part.
All right. So
and I think the investigation should rotate on that, and I think the government even made a wise decision to suspend it.
Let me ask a quick one. Can government investigate itself? I mean, there are the people that have been the people that have been parties in signing this agreement, the likes of Matia Kasaija, Ngovi, and then Matovu. So can government be able to investigate itself? Who is the person who is going to be investigating the coffee deal?
There is this honorable member from Bugweri said they have made the parliament a mortuary. They kill the government businesses, and after killing them, they take the dead businesses to parliament for investigations. So they have turned the parliament into a mortuary.
So in
because
other words,
a mortuary always receives
that as a divert or something, in your opinion?
Yeah, it is not a divert, but he was only lamenting, like what you are saying, that can the government investigate itself. But one thing that we need to know, who is government, who is in government, and what is government. This is an issue that concerns every citizen of this country. We must wake up and put these people to account for their actions. Okay. And I know if we all strongly come up as citizens and our representatives in different leadership positions, then they can task these people to expose who are those individuals misusing their offices. The only mismatch we have, and which is very bad, and something that I have always lamented and regretted, our leaders we have, even members of parliament, and I think members of parliament, and I think it is even the ordinary citizens, we who vote them into power, into office, who cause them to do that. Now, this issue of coffee deal is being seriously discussed by different people, by whoever. But our members, it is in parliament. But our members of parliament, even if you checked around here, you'll find them attending burial ceremonies.
In fact, I was
on local media here. Yeah. Some of them don't know what is even being, what is even happening.
In fact, I was discussing with some journalists the other day, and I was trying to find out if the local farmers here actually know about what is going on.
They might not be knowing.
It was really very absurd that none of these leaders has really come up to have this kind of
They don't know. They are attending burial ceremonies, weddings, fundraisings, when strategic things are being discussed and passed, which are going to kill our generations and generations and generations.
Okay.
That's what pains me.
Now we started the conversation by you putting up a disclaimer that the coffee deal was actually a bad one. So maybe do we have any good in that coffee deal? Is it good for us to have investors, international investors who are actually coming on ground to be able to put up Uganda's economy? I'll give an example of the oil. We've had very many international companies that have come up to mine, to help in the process. We've seen the airport in Hoima. We've seen the roads that are being constructed towards the oil, and it is good development. So, do we have any good in that coffee deal?
I want to assure you, in this particular, it is good to have investors. And there is a lot that you can benefit from investors if these investors are genuine and not pseudo. But in this particular coffee deal, this agreement we are discussing now, there is nothing, not even a single thing close
to good.
To good.
Okay.
It isn't there. Because one, it is depriving the ordinary citizens from their right to produce coffee and market it to the market, or sell it to the market of their choice. Two, the Uganda government has given land to this very investor for the establishment of whatever, which land would be used for other things. That is another strategy. They are taking land in that.
Let us look at this, Mr. Fernandez. You see, some of the reasons that the government is actually putting on board is for us to have quality processed coffee. Yeah, quality processed coffee to have, and also they are trying to look at employment that even the labor that is supposed to be working in this company or this coffee plant is actually labor from this country. And then also we're trying to look at how we export, we increase on our export as a country. Elijah. And that's also we have someone who is plugging in for us.
Elijah, those are good ideas that this agreement fronted, but they are not real. And one thing they forgot, when Kasaija and when Honorable Kasaija and Ramadan, the PS, we are defending this contract before it was suspended, one thing they forgot is to calculate the number of workers, the number of youth who don't have employment, the number of workers the company is going to employ, how it is going to reduce. That's what they normally do. But at the end of it all, they don't employ. Take an example of Kinyara here. We have Kinyara Sugar Limited. How many workers are there? They have about 13,000 directly employed workers. But out of those, I think about 60% are Indians. They are not Ugandans, and Ugandans are being chased away.
That is cheap labor.
They are Kasanju, Kuteme Bikaijo, and they are there on contract. They are treated as casual laborers, and they are running away from all this. These are pseudo things. This lady you are talking about, that who is going to bring all these things in Amamve and in Kampala, where she has been given land, I want to tell you, for her she's a cover, but inside her there is another person.
Yeah, you've talked about that.
And
so still, if we have that kind of cover, and we believe maybe in what you're trying to say is it is a cover for someone who is actually in government. So isn't it a good deal for us, even on?
No, it is not a good deal. You can see they have even waived the taxes, all taxes for 10 years. How much money is that? The money coming out of that deal for 10 years would pay all the nurses in the country for the 10 years. And we have inadequate nurses, inadequate doctors. They are threatening to go on sit down strike because of their whatever. And it is because of these thieves. And this one explains why we have a unique inflation in Uganda. It explains that. And this very lady, woman, I don't want to call her lady because she's a Coney woman. She has accepted to be used. Sometime back, was it in 2001? She was given land. She was given money, about 1.3 trillion Ugandan shillings. Okay. A million has a million has 110,000. Is it? How do I say it? 1 million is made of 10,000 times 100. Then 1,000 millions make 1 billion. 1,000 billions make 1 trillion. And she was given 1.3 trillion last year. She was given land. She was given holiday incentive, tax holiday. She was given, I don't know what, to build Lowowa International Specialized Hospital. But the hospital is still on the ground. When you read about her, I don't want to discuss that one for now. She has same issues in South Africa. She has same issues in Tanzania. She has some issues in Nigeria.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Fenhans. Thank you so much, our viewers that are keeping it live on our media. I'm going to just read a few comments here. This one is saying, Elijah, government cannot investigate itself. I actually agree with Fenhans. And also, someone is also asking that next time, we actually invite Member of Parliament, that is MP Joab, to be part of this discussion. I think we shall be able to do that because as leaders, they really need to be in this space to see that we dissect such patent issues. And also someone is asking for Innocent. We are supposed to have Innocent for the show, but somehow he has been engaged and he has not been able to make it here. So, Mr. Fenhans, we were supposed to be concluding with this show, but maybe as we get to the end of the show, what are some of the recommendations that you would give? As they recalled, they suspended this coffee deal. What are some of the things that they should be looking at right about now?
Before I make my recommendations, I want to say that I look at this deal as a decoy, a cover and conduit of stolen taxpayers' money for well-connected members in this government, in this country. And the people know them, and even these people know themselves. And it could be one of the reasons why Innocent dodged. They are fearing them. These are thieves. So, I want to make that one very, very clearly. Then, one of the recommendations I want to make, one, this deal should be indefinitely suspended. And this lady Pinetti should be put to task to explain how she came into this deal and the person that she's working for.
I remember there is an artist, and let us try to relate this to even the entertainment industry. I don't know if you've heard about this, but we had an artist that came around during the COVID lockdown and he was imprisoned. In fact, we had him at CPS, something at the prison, because he came and then he was all putting up people were coming up here, it was COVID-19. Can we have the same issue when it gets to this very coffee deal, that when someone really brings up, they try to confuse the country around? Maybe we can put them to book.
Yes.
And then...
exactly, I'm calling for that. And the recommendation number 3 is calling upon our elected leaders, especially members of parliament. They must interest themselves in this deal. They must read, they must make research, they must internalize,
and also give information,
comprehend. They must mobilize people, tell them what is happening, tell them their decision, guide them, and mobilize the people to act accordingly. Because I want to tell the farmers out there, the listeners, in Uganda now, the language which is best listened to, is just defiance. Let us reject this bad leadership.
When we look at demonstrations, honestly, we haven't seen demonstrations that have really achieved. Because if you look at some of the issues we've been hearing, this week I've been on social media, and you see that very many ladies have been abducted, others have disappeared with the so-called drones, others we've not had. The only thing that we hear from the government or the police is we are making investigations. I mean, up to when?
Yeah, it can't be, Elijah, it can't be one day off. Okay. You know, with the demonstrations, goes with the social movements, and it can't be a day off. I know things are building each against the other. One time people will get fed up, and they will have to roll onto the streets, and they will have to question these leaders in their different offices. They will demand to meet those particular people who pretend that they are planning for us, they are thinking for us, when they are excluding the people who are supposed to do that. I've been telling you the people who have been out of this deal, and they could have been in that deal. So they should give people space. They have taken all other businesses, and the citizens of this country, especially the ordinary farmers, the ordinary citizens, had remained with only that coffee thing, and they also want to take it. That is the only thing that they had remained with.
It is
and
they
also want to take it.
Just like bringing a visitor in your house, and then they cross up to the bedroom.
Exactly. They are taking everything. They should do batuleke. What is it that they want? The wealth they have robbed from us is more than enough for their generations and generations and generations. People will get angered and they will regret. And that Italian woman should stop it at this.
Yeah.
By the way, she's yet to account for the 1.3 trillion that she was given to put up an international specialized hospital, which facility is still in the ground.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Fenhans, for this conversation, and also our viewers. I want to thank you so much for keeping it live on Elkem Media. As we said, this show is powered by Elkem Media Services and also the Tusimbule Midwestern Uganda Festival that is happening in about 12 days. Yeah, that is at Masindi Stadium. That is on 6 May, and gates will be open at exactly 6 p.m. You can book your ticket. The ticket is 10,000, and then we have the one VIP, which is 20K, and then a table is 150K. So we're going to have all districts around Midwestern Uganda in Masindi Stadium. So, Mr. Fenhans, as we conclude, maybe what your last take to the Ugandans or to the people that have been watching us live on Elkem Media, just because of time.
Thank you, Ban Elijah, and the people I have been talking to. My last take is to recall the individuals in this government to come back to sanity. 2, I want to call on all Ugandans to join hands and do away with the politicizing our livelihoods.
Okay.
Coffee touches our livelihoods. We should join our hands and resist the bad acts of individuals in this government who are using their offices and positions to continuously steal our money, steal our resources, depriving us and killing us. We should desist from that. Let us join hands. Let us fight together. Let us get back our rights. Let us do our role as citizens of this country, and our leaders, especially members of parliament, be relevant. Stop going to funeral services. Stop going to parties. Stop going to churches. Stop going to...
They are looking for the vote.
As they look for the vote. Read, make research, play your role as a member of parliament on your 4 core roles: oversight, legislation, representation, and budget appropriation.
Okay.
And the question, do the oversight role. And you cannot do those 4 core roles if you are not doing research, if you are not giving it time, if you are using all your time and resources in attending funerals. If you continue doing that, then we shall remain doomed. And even the little that we have remained with is going to be taken away. And work as a team. Work as a team. Stop your internal fights.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Fenhans, for your time. I want to thank you because at least out of the panelists that we're supposed to have, you made it to this show. Yeah, we hope to invite you for more conversations about the same. Yeah, more especially about the rising commodities. Yeah, the rising prices of the commodities, because you did talk about things to do with inflation, economy, and the likes. So we shall have, yes, we've had a conversation about the same issue, but I think we shall have a more conversation about that. So our viewers, it has been the platform, and we always happen every Sunday at 4 p.m. here on Elkem Media Services. So I want to wish you a very good evening.